Good day, everyone. Well, this is Dr. Darrell Wolfe, and guess where I am? I'm in Orlando, and tomorrow I fly out to Texas. And next Wednesday, I will be doing a lecture in Prosper, Texas, and it's going to be free. So if you want, you can go take a look at and get information from braveheartnation.com. Go to braveheartnation.com, call Rami, and you can come to this Texas lecture free. I'm also going to be doing a lecture in Kelowna, British Columbia the following week, okay? So if you want information, you can call 855-900-4544 and call 0, and they'll tell you where my lectures are. My lectures will actually be always, you can come at 6:30. It's a meet and greet if you want to meet with me. And then at 7 o'clock, if you can't come in person to my lectures, I'm always going to come live on my lectures. Okay? And just know this, that the next New World Practitioner training I do is going to be in Barrie, Ontario, Canada. Okay? And then we're going to Chicago. And then from Chicago, we go to Calgary. From there, we go to Australia. And then it looks like we may be going to South Africa. All right, so here's the deal, okay? I just wanted to talk about this because a lot of people said to me that they wanted to understand about the body and why their therapies aren't working. And I'm going to tell you something right now, and I mean this in the nicest way, but just think about this. Most practitioners are in what business? They're in the pain management business. How many of you would just like your pain managed? Or how many of you would like to have and be the master of your pain and suffering? Oh, well, you kind of are, aren't you? You kind of are the master of your pain and suffering. And most of you are very ignorant of how you even ended up with that pain and suffering. Now, remember, ignorant doesn't mean that you're stupid. Ignorant means that the information has been withheld from you. So understand that. Now, they're living off your pain and suffering. Well, guess what? That would be every health practitioner out there is making a living off your pain and suffering. Do you get that? Every practitioner out there is making a living off your pain and suffering. Now, here's the deal. Are they treating you or are they training you? And guess what? Most of you will never, ever want to be trained. And the reality is, it's not your fault because most people can't be in the conscious moment long enough. And most people aren't logical because logical means critical thinking. And again, I'm not putting you down. But think about this. How often do you think like the majority? Well, how about 95% of the day? 95 to 98% of the day, you act just like the majority. We are the majority. Okay, unless you're a critical thinker, unless you can live in the conscious moment long enough, and the only time that you can actually heal yourself or be in control of your pain and suffering is if you're in the present moment. You can't heal anywhere except in the present moment. So if you're living in fear, okay, of the future, or you're living for guilt from the past, and to live in guilt from the past, that's just normal because we're all sinners and losers, aren't we? And failures. Oh, isn't that the truth? No, it isn't the truth. That was the lie that they told us. And the reality is that, we're very scared of our future. And guess what? I'm not scared of my future. I got to tell you something. I know this. I know that we carry the best nutraceuticals in the world. We're the only practitioners and the only school in the world that gives a money-back guarantee to their students when they come to learn a whole life coach to become a whole life coach, or just to come and learn how to emotionally master their brain and their body. And we give a money-back guarantee. And our Wolfe Non-Surgical, we give a money-back guarantee. And our pelvic restoration course for women, we also give a money-back guarantee. And we always give a money-back guarantee for all our consultations and all our treatments. Now, here's the deal. What did I say? I said that every natural health practitioner and every medical practitioner out there is feeding off your pain and suffering. And understand something. Are you ready for this? The majority of natural health practitioners and the majority of medical practitioners don't know anything about health, or very little. They know how to what? They know how to manage your pain, take and turn the burner down a little bit, but do they know how to turn it off? No. They would actually have to train you. And to train you, they would actually have to have proper training and know what the body's all about. Now, I know I get up here and stir this thing up. I stir it up all the time. And I'm going to keep stirring it up because whether you want to believe it or not, okay, the majority of the population, okay, are knocking themselves off. They're knocking themselves down. They're knocking themselves out until the point that they're walking around in a coma like a zombie. Yes or no? Now, here's the deal. There are no diseases. And I'm going back through this again because I have had probably 20 calls this week and during the course that I just did with the New World Practitioner course. And so I'm going to try to put this to bed. And guess what? I've got people calling up, and guess what? I actually had a few practitioners call me up and they were upset with me when I say there's no diseases and they thought that I was trying to make them look bad. This is not the truth. The reality is they were mistrained. They were miseducated, and I'm going to tell you something right now. There are no diseases. There are symptoms that people have. Okay, first of all, the greatest gift that we were given is our imagination, and you stop using it. Well, the majority of the population stop using their imagination. Yes or no? Yes or no? How many people think outside the box? How many people think like everybody else? Well, it's not your fault, and I'm not going to get into why it isn't, but the reality is that there is only a GPS that what? Causes pain, causes inflammation, causes stiffness, causes swelling in the body. Those 4 things. That's it. That's it. All aging, all diseases, okay, are based on what? They're based on blockages. First emotional, then physical, okay? And I'm going to tell you something. The psychological has always ruled the biological and always will. Because you are an infinite spirit that has come down here to have this adventure of a lifetime in a physical body. That, guess what? You've been taught to rot. You've been taught to rot. And understand something. Every disease is that part of the body rotting out. If we were able to open it up, you could smell it and you'd smell rotting tissue. You think I'm kidding? You're pooping in your pelvis, for God's sakes. I mean, if you weren't pooping in your pelvis, how would you ever have infected blood or infected tissue to the point that you'd have inflammation? And understand something right now. There's not a disease out there that isn't made from scar tissue, okay? And we're going to get into this a little bit here. Scar tissue and displaced calcium. Do you know what? What's one of the biggest problems that everybody has today? My grandmother fell down and she broke her hip. My father fell down and he broke his arm. No, he didn't. Listen to me. Whether you believe this or not, most of the structures in the body are crumbling. Grandma didn't fall down, okay, and break her hip. Grandma's hip broke and then she fell down. Okay, let me tell you something. Most people, after the age of 50, their bones are becoming like Swiss cheese. Because guess what? They're still eating the same way, still drinking the same way, still looking after themselves the same way, which is not looking after themselves. Hardly anybody knows about good health. And I hardly know any health practitioners that know good health. Did you ever look at some health practitioners and they're into health? You're going to go, whoa, are you into health? Are you really into health? Understand something. I'm going to tell you something. And here it goes. Okay. All right. How many people know that those calcium deposits that are found in a woman's breast, okay, because it's fat tissue, right? Those calcium deposits are the last step before cancer takes over her breast. How many people know that? You didn't know that, did you? You might have, but the reality is most don't know that. Women don't know that when they start getting these little fibroids in their breast, okay, they don't understand that that's from infection that created inflammation, and inflammation caused scar tissue formation. And then when you start to get the calcification in your breast, that's the last step before you end up getting cancer. Yeah, and that's the deal right there. Oh, wait a minute here. What about the gallstones you get? Well, just know this, you're precancerous. What, I'm precancerous with gallstones? Yes, you are. Gallstones are made out of calcium, and they're also made out of cholesterol. And the reason why you've got so much calcium being pulled from your bones in that area of your body that is collecting in your actually collecting in your gallbladder is because you're on your way to an inflammatory liver, and you're on your way to liver cancer. Isn't that nice? Really? Did anybody ever explain that to you? And then the cholesterol, there's just so much cholesterol getting into your liver because it has to make so much of this to try to goop up the cracks in your arteries, because you're pulling all the minerals out of your arteries. Yes, you are. You're pulling the minerals out. And because of the acidity in your arteries, you're using cholesterol, which is like a candle wax, to actually goop up the cracks in your arteries. But guess what? Do you know why there's so much cholesterol being made? Because you got to goop up these cracks with cholesterol until they heal. Hopefully they heal, but they probably won't, because you're not going to change your diet, because it's a riot and everybody else eats the same, but you have a great diet. I know that. That's what you say anyway. But the reality is, when you pull the calcium from your bones and it goes into your blood to buffer down the acidity, because you're going to go into a coma or die if your blood becomes too acidic. And if that little piece of calcium actually gets caught in the crack of the artery, in the crack in the artery, guess what? It's like coral. It'll cut it. And you know what happens? Then you get a little blood clot, and that is how 95 to 98% of all heart problems, all strokes. You didn't know that, did you? They didn't tell you that, did you? They never said that. They never said that. So the plaque is actually made from calcium, and it's made from cholesterol when it's in your arteries. And you can completely turn that around just with diet and doing the proper nutraceuticals. We can show you that. And you can turn that around in 6 weeks to 3 months. Okay. And you know, we have people that come to us and they say, okay, they said that I've got a 92% blockage and I need heart surgery. Well, guess what? If you go on our perfect day diet, you get our non-surgical, get on our nutraceuticals, and we were to do Cell Sonic and the cardio med bed on you, in 35 hours of being on the med bed and doing that, you'd have a whole new set of arteries. A brand new set of arteries. A brand new set of arteries. You can go to powerpack.health, if you don't believe me, and do your own research. We've got enough medical studies on there to prove that we are telling you the truth. Now, let's keep going, because we're just getting started with this party. So understand something. All those blocks in your heart are scar tissue and calcium. And understand, now we got to get the calcium that's displaced and get it back into the bones. How many people know that you can get all the calcium that's locked up in your tissues, in your organs, in your tendons, in your ligaments, in your joints, junk in your joints, and you can get it all back into the bones? How many people know that? No, you didn't know that. You think when it goes, it comes out, it just stays out, and it doesn't. So that's why now you're Swiss cheese, and you've got fractures going on, and you've got bone pain. Okay, let me tell you something. They don't care about you. They live off your pain and suffering. And understand something. And guess what? Most natural health practitioners live off your pain and suffering because they don't even know what they're doing. And that's the God's truth. Let me tell you, here's something I put out to everyone, and I do it not to cause trouble, but I usually get in trouble. The reality is, if you think you know what you're doing as a practitioner, why aren't you giving a money-back guarantee? My God, Walmart gives money-back guarantee on the worst crap in the world. Meanwhile, you call yourself a healer, you call yourself a practitioner. Why aren't you giving a money-back guarantee? And that is the bottom line. Now, let's talk about this. Now, we know that 47% of all women urinate in their panties throughout the day. We know that if they sneeze, squirt. If they laugh, squirt. If they pick something up, squirt. We know that. And do you know what the problem is? It's calcium. You didn't know that, did you? It's actually displaced calcium. And the valve that actually releases the urine and then shuts down the bladder gets calcified. How many people here know that we can turn that completely around? Or do you just want to live with it? Do you want to live with it? Go ahead. You can live with it then. You know, some people will actually live with their problems because guess what? They've never got so much attention before. And the reality is I already told you that the body has a GPS, and it's based on pain, swelling, stiffness, and inflammation. And those four things, if you don't know how to talk or listen to your body, because it's called body talk, right? GPS, body talk. You don't know that these are symptoms telling you you're out of harmony, and now you have a disease, which means you're not at ease. You're not at ease. That's all that means. There's no such thing as a disease, okay? Because you have to understand something. You know, you'll go from stiff joints to painful joints, from painful joints to arthritis, which just means inflammation in the joint in Greek, because they're always going to talk to you in Greek because you're that stupid. I'm going to talk to you in Greek. Fibromyalgia, I'm going to say arthritis. I mean, look at the names they use for their products. And every time they come up with a new disease, you don't know what it is, but if you look it up, that would be great. Let's take this. How about this word? It's Greek. It's called virus. And what does virus mean? It means poison. It doesn't mean small, invisible microbe that jumps 6 feet. Okay, didn't look that up, did we? Too bad, because if we would have, maybe we wouldn't have worn the diaper for 3 years, and the diaper's coming back. Isn't that great? Diaper's coming back in style. It's coming back in style this at the end of this coming summer. You watch, okay? Because now we got the avian flu, and God knows, you know, if it can fly, we're in big trouble now. All right? So now let's talk about this. So we talked about the bladder that gets calcified. We can decalcify that in a matter of just weeks. Okay, and you'll be back to where you need to get to. Okay, so now let's talk about this. We talked about the heart, how it gets calcified. How about this, everyone? Did you ever hear of anybody have a hiatal hernia? Well, that's where the valve, the stomach valve, from you trying to push down to get your poop out, because you didn't drink enough warm, structured water, which would be about 3 quarts to 4 quarts a day. You know, if you need to do 3/4 of an ounce for every pound that you weigh. Try to make sure that it's warm to hot water because it cleans things better. And we're pretty dirty inside. Don't you think we're pretty toxic? Look at the crap we'll eat. Look at the crap we'll think. And just by stinking thinking, okay, and crappy eating, okay, we become pretty toxic inside. So let's use hot water. Let's use a lot of it. And let's use structured water because it hydrates and cleanses about 1,000% better. Now, there is not one place in the body that you have a problem or a pain or any suffering that isn't scar tissue and calcification. Now, remember something. All pain, all stiffness, all swelling, and all inflammation is due to a block. The energy in your body, which is your spirit, wants to flow throughout your body. It wants to flow, right? Go with the flow, go with the flow. Isn't that what they say? Well, guess what? What do you think it's doing to the lymph flow? What do you think it's doing to the blood flow? Okay? And the one I really love the most is when we become very toxic and out of balance, then especially women, your hormones get out of balance. And then you start working from the end backwards. I mean, who does that? Does anybody understand that if you were just to get back in balance, you wouldn't have hormonal imbalance? So all I'm going to say is this, that you go ahead and you get enough displaced calcium, get enough displaced scar tissue, and they'll tell you you're bone on bone in your hips, bone on bone in your knees, bone on bone in your spine, and they don't know what they're talking about. So I'm going to challenge every surgeon out there, the best surgeons in the world, and I'm going to challenge them to come on to my show, and I want to challenge them to come on and tell the world that I'm a fraud, that we can't get calcium back into the bones, that we can't take bone on bone in the hip and reverse it, that we can't take bone on bone in the spine and reverse it, that we can't take a slip disc and reverse it. Okay, I'm going to tell you something right now, that 95 to 98% of all surgeries never have to get done if people come to us. We'll give you a money back guarantee that on the first treatment and the consultation too, that we'll give your money back if we can't prove to you that you don't have to have surgery. Now, if you were the type of person who is a self-loather or you don't really care for yourself, I mean, seriously, guys, you know, try to find somebody that has total unconditional love for themselves. Go ahead. I want you to try to do that. That's 1 out of 10,000 people. For one thing, you will never do it because if you were brought up in any type of religion, you know that you're going to go to hell because if you went and loved yourself unconditionally, oh my God, and you didn't punish yourself for all the sins and all the failures that you made in your life, then you're going to hell. No, wait a minute. I got a surprise for you. You're already there and you're going to stay there. Well, you're only going to stay there as long as the beliefs that you have in your brain say that you need to go to this subconscious, unconscious jail. You know, I've talked about this before, but you know what? It depends on what family, I'm sorry, and what family damly you're from, because the reality is this. Did you ever notice something? You could do one thing in this family and they would talk to you. You do it in this family, you get sent to your room. You do it in this family, they won't talk to you for 10 years. So it depends on where you come from. It depends on what the rules are. Well, rules are for fools. And unless we look at unconditional love and unconditional care for ourselves, and I'm going to tell you something, you might think this is a marketing ploy, but you never have to spend a penny with me, and I'll give you more health information. I'll give you more take action steps than anybody else you've ever seen in your life. Why don't you challenge me? And then come on and tell me I'm fraudulent about that too. Go to my library at docofdetox.com, dive in there and do an hour of research every night for 33 days. Okay, and go take a look at all the guides and all the master classes we have for you and tell me that you aren't awake. Tell me that anybody's going to be able to pull your pants down and put that mask back up on your face. Tell me that you're going to keep on buying all these new and improved foods. Tell me that you're going to keep on going for all of these medical breakthroughs, which are a medical breakdown. The whole medical system is not corrupt. It's not toxic. It was built this way. You know what I mean? It's like this. Oh, you see, you can't fix something that's not broken. The medical system's not broken. It's like the government. You can't fix the government because they're not broken. Okay? They are built to do what they're built to do. And understand something. Your body is built to heal you as soon as you stop attacking it on an emotional and physical level. Now, the reality is, I can say to you, well, what's your diet like? Well, my diet is really good. And you're going to be telling me that compared to the majority of the population that have an autoimmune disease, which means that they're actually dying. Well, their body's dying. Their spirit will never die. Their body's dying. And understand, but you haven't noticed how they're blowing up. You haven't noticed how your armpits smell. You haven't noticed how your breath smells or your bowel movements smell. Guys, here's the deal. And you need to get this. All disease can be reversed, okay? And there's no such thing as a virus. Isn't that something? And there is such thing as bad bacteria, but they can turn back into good bacteria. And the reality is we're about 70 trillion cells, but we are 700 trillion bacteria. And the bacteria are the smartest part of us. How smart are you? How smart are you? What are the choices you're going to make tonight? What are the choices you're going to make tomorrow? You know, everything is about bringing your vibration up. And understand something. When you go to a practitioner and that practitioner says, I can't help you, well, that's because their beliefs are limited. Okay? Their beliefs are limited. And when you go to a medical doctor that is so smart, oh, he's just so smart. He went to school for so long. Let me tell you something right now. The people that come to me, and guess what? I'm allowed to do this, and I've got some powerful people around me. We've opened up a university, and guess what? You can get your doctorate of natural medicine through us and indigenous medicine. And guess what? You can say, oh, that's a paper mill, Dr. Wolfe, or whatever it is. No, we make the smartest, most intelligent practitioners in the world. They're logical, and they also give a money-back guarantee. And they'll give a money-back guarantee even if they're not a naturopathic doctor, a doctor of natural medicine yet, or indigenous medicine. They'll give a guarantee even if they just took our New World Practitioner course, which is the Whole Life Coach and the Wolfe Non-Surgical, and that's only 22 days. And I'll tell you something, they'll go out and they will kick everybody's butt. Because understand, there's a practitioner and a doctor in all of us, and you need to get that. Okay, you go and you take a look at the information in my library, or go and get a perfect day consultation, which is $150, and I'll give you a 400-page manual that will blow you away, okay? Because we will give you the truth and we will give you the logic. Now, is this a marketing ploy? I don't know, is it? I would like you to brainwash yourself that you are enough, okay, for yourself, that you are the practitioner you've been looking for, that you know how to self-care and self-love yourself so that you aren't going to what? Hurt yourself or hurt others. And understand something, hurt people hurt people. And how do you feel when you don't get the love that you were supposed to from your partners, your children, in the world? Okay, you have a big tantrum, don't you? And you pout. Isn't that great? And when you do that, you make yourself sick. And you make everybody sick around you. And understand, they live off your suffering. They live off your pain. And guess what? They want you to be a slave and work your butt off until you're 50. And then they're going to, by the time you're 50, you're falling apart. Then what's going to happen is you're going to end up spending all your money, right? All your hard-earned money, okay? So guess what? It's a calcium scar tissue issue. Please focus, okay? And guess what? Symptoms are not diseases. And all symptoms are your body's GPS saying, why can't you love me? And then I want you to tell it and look in the mirror tonight and say, I cannot love you because if I do, I will feel like a sinner. People will think I'm selfish. And understand something. I get my love from everyone else. I don't even know how to love myself. I don't know. What is self-love, Daryl? Well, guess what? That's for you to find out. And once you find it, then you'll be able to heal. Once you feed your spirit, you will heal your body. Once you love yourself and let yourself off the hook for everything you've ever done or everything you're ever going to do, maybe you won't calcify. Maybe you won't crumble just like your mind has made you crumble. And then your body will crumble. And that's how it works. The psychological rules the biological. The invisible creates the physical. So what do you want to create today? All right? So anyways, like I said, next week, if you can't be in Prosper, Texas, I'll be doing a free lecture there. You can call Rami. Just go to braveheartnation.com. I can't keep all the information in my head. If you can't make it there, I'll come on live at about 7 o'clock for that lecture. I think it's on Wednesday. But if you go to braveheartnation.com, you'll know when I'm coming on. And the reality is this, okay? That which created the universe has never judged you. You just judged yourself. And you allowed everyone to tell you that you're under judgment. And understand, did anybody notice? We don't have a justice society. We have a judgment society. And has anybody noticed that the people that actually run this world, they don't grow the food? They don't build the buildings? They don't make the highways? Okay? All right? But they do try to control us every way they can. And understand this, and I mean this in the best way, but the majority of natural health practitioners don't even know what they're doing. Unless you're going to focus on the calcium issue and you're going to focus on the scar tissue issue, okay? Then you're not even getting started. Like I said, I challenge every practitioner out there, whether you're a chiropractor, naturopath, okay, physiotherapist, okay, or a medical doctor, where's your money back guarantee? Okay, and you can think I'm being a smarty about it, but remember something. Hippocrates, the father of medicine, he even did something different. Don't pay me until you get well. Well, I would do that too, but the reality is, back in Hippocrates' time, they didn't have TV, they didn't have radio, they didn't have the written newspaper, okay, and the government and the medical system didn't have their game on as well for fear-mongering, okay? So the reality is, think about it. Back in Hippocrates' time, okay, was there all those chocolate bars, ice cream, new and improved? Was there canola oil? Was there blue light? Was there 5G? Okay, was your whole family addicted to smoking, toking, alcohol, and then everybody just thought it was normal? Okay, the reality is I couldn't give a money-back guarantee. I can give a money-back guarantee because I know what my work will do, but I'm not going to give, I'm not going to say when you get well and we get you out of hell, then you can pay me, because that's not going to happen. Because even the person who wants to get well and they're suffering and they have logic, they have to go home to a whole family of people that are addicted to everything in the cupboard, in the fridge, and in the medicine cabinet, and also in the drawer in their bedroom. Do you understand? So we have an addicted nation, so I could never do it. And just know this, Hippocrates, the father of medicine, If he saw what was going on in medicine, he'd be rolling in his grave. Okay? All right. Anyways, we're going out, right, honey?
Yes.
That's right. We're going out. We're going to go out and eat something really good. We're going to try to see if we can find a really good restaurant near here. Then tomorrow we catch a plane. I will do a one-a-day if I have time in the Orlando airport, okay? And you know what? I probably came off a little bit scattered because I'm a little bit buzzed out. This has been one heck of a week. But you know what? It doesn't matter how tired I am or what's going on in the world. I just want you to know that I'm so grateful to the creator of everything for deciding to create me, and I exist. And I will look after this vehicle, this temple, okay? I'll be 67 in a couple of months, and understand, when you see me when I'm 97, okay? All right? I'm still going to look after this temple. I'm still going to love and care for myself, no matter how much the government, these psychos want us to hate ourselves because we're responsible for climate change that doesn't exist. We're responsible for recycling all the garbage that they make. You do know that the drug industry actually controls everything. The petroleum industry controls everything. All right? You do know that, don't you? That the drug industry and the petroleum industry actually, they own every food corporation. Okay, so welcome to an inflammation, constipation nation that is scar tissue formation and calcification, and they all, and the majority of the population just believes it's normal. Everything is just normal, right? Okay, it's too bad we don't have a memory, or we don't go and look back 25 years at what we used to look like, what we used to act like. Have a beautiful day, and just know that that which created the universe has always loved you and never judged you. Take care.